Hello, everyone. So, in the past, we have looked at our audience as media planners. We have tried to understand our audience and how best we can target them or categorize them to make for easy communication. Now, moving from that, we are now looking at the marketplace and we're looking at where we, of course, buy and sell. What are the permutations that are happening there and how can they affect the work of media planners or media buyers? So that is what we are going to look at. All right, so let's go. Who am I? Now, for movie enthusiasts, I'm sure you know Jackie Chan, and some may even probably remember the movie Who Am I? I think it came in the late 90s. Now, in the movie, Jackie Chan lost his memory and he found himself somewhere, I think somewhere in Africa here. And to know who he was and understand himself, he had to look to the past and he had to look at his present to understand who he was. And this is similar to what we are going to do or what you ought to do as a media planner whenever you are working with any client, whether the client is your boss, as in whether you are working with the company as a media planner or whether you have been contracted. You would have to, so in this case, the who am I is not you as the media planner, but who am I as the organization itself, whether the client or the organization you are working for. So you would have to do what they call an introspection to know who you are, where you have been in the past, and where you are going. And that is what we are going to do today. Now, in looking at who are you or who you are, one of the things we'll have to look at is how long has this brand been available? How long has the brand been available? The brand that you are looking at planning media for or buying media for how long have they been available or how long have they been in the system? Now, from the photo over here, even without me saying anything, I'm sure you all know that is Key Soap. And I'm sure you remember the screenshot from where this advert came from. No wonder mom says you are the best choice I could ever make. Medofopa, if you remember. So, now Key Soap has been in Ghana for a long time. And they have taken advantage of this and they even say the tradition goes on. So reminding you of how long they have been in existence. Now, for a media planner, when you know how long a brand has been available, it helps you better able to know, for instance, if you want to create awareness for the brand and you are planning your media, ask yourself questions like, how long have they been available? Which people are more likely to have known them? So if you know the brand has been available for decades, then it is likely that people within these ages already know of this brand. So if I'm planning my media, then maybe I should select certain kinds of media that younger people who may not have known of our brand may be frequenting. The platform that these people may be frequenting. Then that might be able to help you create your awareness, whatever it is that you are doing. So this is one way by which knowing how long a brand has been available can help you as a media planner. So moving on, still on who you are or who am I. Now ask yourself, how successful has that brand been throughout its history? Who you have been in the past and how it can affect your future. I remember Jackie Chan again. He was looking at, or he was trying to remember his past because that was what was going to help him know who he was currently. So look at the brand's past. What are the mistakes they have made? Have they been in the news for one thing or the other? What have they been noted for to do in the past? All those tips can help you know how to move forward or how to plan your media in the future by knowing how successful the brand has been throughout history. Have they been using radio often and it has been successful? Then maybe you should go ahead using more radio. Maybe most of their clientele are radio listeners. Have they been successful using television, newspaper, So when you say how successful has it been, it's not just in how successful have they been in sales, but in their marketing, where have they been hitting good points, and how you as a media planner or media buyer can take advantage of it. We also look at how it has been positioned in the past. How it has been positioned in the past. So when we're talking about positioning, we are talking about how the brand has presented itself to the minds of people. So when people see the brand, what do they think of? Yeah. So how do brands position themselves? This is not a branding lecture, but in summary, there are a lot of ways that brands position themselves. Take for instance KFC and Burger King in Ghana. Let's take KFC and Burger King in Ghana. Now, KFC was here before Burger King, yes, but from what I observe, Burger King is trying to present itself as, yes, we offer fast food, burgers, and chips, all those things, but we are offering it to a certain select clientele, like upper class kind of people. Now, mind you, although their prices does not necessarily suggest they are for upper class people, because their prices are almost the same as KFC's prices, but I've observed they select specific locations that allow itself for certain kinds of people to be present. So you realize I have seen two of their locations, one at Airport Shell, and then I've seen another one at Westlands. And these are locations that not rich people don't often find themselves there. So even if you enter that shop, cry, you are not feeling fine, because as it's not your lane, it's not your area. Because the kind of people who walk in, the kind of cars that are parked there, you feel Charlie. This one you feel if you even feel uncomfortable. But when you look at KFC, they appear to have cut across. They have branches in East Legon, Hacho, and a whole lot of places. But you enter their shops and then you realize it appears there are all kinds of people there. People who you would classify as high class, you find them there. And then those secondary school people who have just finished school right now, they got 20 cities, 30 cities, they are chopping lab, they too, they will enter. But from my observation, you hardly see these kind of people in Burger King. And maybe that may be how they want to position themselves. Maybe I'm talking about from my observation. But so when we talk about positioning, I just wanted you to know how they want to present themselves in the minds of people. You hear BM or a Mercedes, and then you think German machine, aha. In the past, you hear Hyundai or is it Hyundai, and then you think China car, like China goods. But today they are moving from that kind of perception to a different kind of perception. So position has to do with how have they been perceived in the past, and that would also affect or advise you on which media platforms to even select, when, how, where. So what do you know about the company that makes this brand? Now, you ask yourself, what do you know about the company that makes this brand? Sometimes you forget that a company and then its brand the brands that they have may be different. So Nestle, for instance, is a company. Nestle has brands like Milo, Nido, and a whole lot. So these are the brand names that all fall under the Nestle, the Nestle company. So when we say, what do you know about the company that makes this brand? In this case, what I'm asking is, what do you know about Nestle? Now, why is this important to you, a media planner? Again, it is important because you're trying to understand who the company is, because sometimes how people perceive a company can even affect how they perceive the brands or the products that the company is coming out with. You get it? So let's take, for instance, Tesla. Let's take, for instance, Tesla. Now, you all know Tesla's owner. Now, the perception people have of him is he's smart, he cares about people. Of course, he get dough, and he wants to do his best to move with technology. Let's just say this is how people see him. Now, the Tesla car is not the only thing that they do. They have subsidiaries like they have something solar something. Basically, what they produce is solar panels for homes and offices and whatever it is that you are using your solar panel for. Now, if you are a company and you're going to purchase solar panels and you realize that the company you are dealing with is a subsidiary of Tesla, what's the perception you get of the solar panels or of that brand? With forgotten the name, I think it's Solar City also. What perception would you have of Solar City, knowing that Solar City, the brand Solar City, is coming from Tesla? You would think, okay, then Charlie, the technology will be high. It will be, on point. Charlie, they know what they're about, because what we know about Tesla company, even the CEO and everything, is that Charlie, they are smart, they are savvy, they are doing stuff. So it is important to have an idea of what people think about the company, as it can also be associated with the brands that the company produces. Now, after looking at yourself, which is the company, now, of course, now you look outside. What is the competition up to? Remember, you are not alone. You are not working in a vacuum. You're competing against other brands. So, the three areas I would like you to focus on are product category, brand trends, and market share. Product category, brand trends, and market share. So, so let's go to the next slide and see what product category is about. So now, under product category, we're looking at product category trend, we're looking at sales trends, and then we're looking at whether we're in the appropriate category. What we mean by why am I having problem pronouncing this word? Product category trend. So when we look at product category trend, we're saying you have your product, your brand, whatever it is that you're selling, ice cream, phone charger, watch, Tom Brown. That is the product category that you fall in. Just like when you go to Gigi or Tonaton, and they will say the product categories over there are vehicles or the cars, and then they have furniture, and then they have, those are the categories. So what category does your product fall under? What are the trends in that category? So if you're looking at sales trends, are the sales increasing? If you're selling shirts or jeans, in the last year or two, how have the sales of shirts and jeans been in the country, or in the region, or in the area that you are focused on? These things can give you an idea of what is going on. Is it that sales have been increasing? If sales are increasing, why is that? Are sales decreasing in that product category? Why is that? If the product category is, let's say, chocolate, when and where, why, how are sales increasing and decreasing? Of course, during Valentine, getting to and a little after Valentine, sales of chocolates are going to go up because people want to show love. Of course, sometimes to around festivities, Christmas, Easter, people like to buy it. Now, it is an all year round product, but there are certain times that they peak. So as a media planner, media buyer, if you're planning your media buying, or you're planning your media for a year, when do you think will be ideal seasons or times for you to push in more appearances for chocolate? Then you know that, okay, even though I am showing 2 adverts a month, or 3 adverts in a month, in January or in July, when it is in February, I'd have to show about 10 adverts within this period because this is when people are more inclined towards purchasing my chocolates. Or if it is toys, children toys, getting to Christmas. Hey, mom, it's you. I want doll. I want this. So children, people buy these things for their children. So when you have an idea of your product category trends, you know when to hopefully pump in more. Sometimes too, you may look at your trend sales and then see that within May to July, the sale of our products go down, but I want it to go up so that we can even make money within this period. Then, I mean, of course, you don't take the decision alone. If that's what your client wants, then of course, when it gets there, when you're planning your media, you know how to schedule it so that it can achieve the aim that you're looking for. So sales trends or category trends could be seasonal and depend on economic, political, social, cultural reasons. Yeah. So maybe because of a certain Ga festival, maybe I don't know what the Gans you use during their festivals, maybe eggs or maybe popoy, maybe sales of the products within those categories go up. You understand? It could be economic. Maybe money no day. Maybe the country is facing some economic challenges, and so a lot of people have cut down on their spending. That could be what is causing that. So all these things will give you an idea of what is happening in the product category, and then it will help you know how to schedule your media. Sales trends, same. But you see, when we talk about sales trends, again, we're talking about how much money or how much people are buying within that period. And again, I think when I was explaining the product category, I think I gave you an idea of what sales trends is talking about. So we'll skip that and then we'll go to appropriate category. Are you in the right category? Sometimes my clients tell me, why is this important? Why are we talking about category? I want people to buy my product. This category thing, it is not important to me. But you see, it is very important. Let me give an example of Vitamilk. Now, Vitamilk is milk. Yeah. But they hardly put themselves in the category of milk product. You understand? Vitamilk says eye aduane ankasa. And then you see them running these adverts over and over again. Vitamilk is positioning itself or putting itself in the category of, first of all, meal, and then it is positioning itself in the category of something like a nutritious or an energy drink, if I may use the word energy drink, but a nutritious substitute. So when they run their adverts, you see a strong and muscular man like Steven Tornado appear, running to save people from a vehicle. He tears, the door down, lifts somebody out of the vehicle, and then it's like, whoa, Steven appear. And then it is all because he drank Vitamilk. So they're trying to show how it gives strength, it gives energy. It's like, I did an energy drink, and I say. So they're trying to put themselves there. And then at the same time, they remind you that aduane ankasa, and then they say it's a meal on its own. So they're positioning themselves also as like food, not like milk. When people see it as milk, it's like you finish chopping, let me add this on top kind of thing. But they wanted people to see it as food itself so that people will say, I am hungry. What am I going to have for lunch? Let me take Vitamilk and bread or whatever it is. You understand? So because of that category they have put themselves in, it has affected the nature of their adverts. It will affect the nature of even their sponsorships. So it's likely if they are having this, maybe I hardly watch this Mr. Ghana thing that they do, but they are likely to sponsor those kind of programs so that if people see people lifting weights and then they see Vitamilk as a sponsor, their minds go to, if I need strength, if I need energy, if I'm feeling tired at work, I'm mobile kunguma dear. So you understand? Sometimes choosing the app, not even sometimes, all the time, choosing the appropriate category for your product can even change your fortunes. When I say your fortunes, I mean how people patronize it. Aha. So, take for instance Graphic and Times. I'm not talking about the newspapers, Graphic and Times. I'm talking about the other photo you see there, a Bronin Cartier. You know the technical name we give to it is Graphic and Times. I think, I don't know, probably it's because it used to be wrapped in newspapers, and that's probably why they called it Graphic and Times. Probably, if you know the reason it is called Graphic and Times, I would love if you could give me a heads up. So let's take Graphic and Times. Now, Graphic and Times, people take it as, snack. It's a snack. But did you know that in the past, long time ago, our elders used it as like mouth freshener? So imagine a polygamous family, and the man is married to about 3 women, and he's going to this woman's hut today to copulate. He pours some Graphic and Times into his hands. He starts chewing. You realize after chewing Graphic and Times, your mouth starts smelling nice. It has this nice aroma. So they were using it as mouth freshener. Before you go enter the hut for copulation, you chew Graphic and Times for your mouth to smell sweet, so that when you are kissing and stuff, it doesn't put people off. So imagine a company branding, selling Graphic and Times, and rather than just presenting itself as a snack, it also presents itself as something like a mouth freshener. So they, in the running of their adverts, they show somebody in the office chewing Graphic and Times after eating fufu and light soup, apapon, because it will enter your nose and everything. You chew Graphic and Times, and then your boss will call you, hey, what are you doing? Come and do a presentation. And then even whilst you're doing the presentation, like, you're smelling good, because Graphic and Times. So when people see it as such, now remember, the category of the product now has moved from just snacks to a mouth freshener. So more and more people will buy it and put it in their bags, just in case they're in the office or they're meeting someone and they don't want to chew gum. Sometimes after eating food, if you chew gum, sometimes you get hungry again because of the way gum works. The saliva creating, when you chew gum, your mouth feels, because of the up and down movement, you are masticating, so it produces saliva. Your stomach produces more, I think, hydrochloric acid, so that the food that is coming will be digested. Meanwhile, no food is coming. So what happens is you get hungry again quickly. So maybe you don't want to chew gum, and then Graphic and Times is there, and then you chew. So you see how by changing the category or adding some other product categories to where your product fits in, you can increase your sales. So by changing product category, it can also affect how or which media you may decide to run your advertisements in. Now, again, looking at our competition, brand trends, we have already looked at product category. You look at, by product category, we're looking at what product category we find ourselves in. We're looking at sales trend, what's going on there, how many companies are making good sales against yours, and we have also looked at appropriate category, looking at appropriate category for your product or service, juxtaposing that against what the competition is doing. Now we are looking at brand trend. So we're asking ourselves, who are the key players? What are the advertising channels? What is the nature of the competition? How is it positioned? Where is it sold? When we say key players, when you're doing research into brand trends, when you say key players, we're looking at which brands are well known in that category that your product is in. Why do you need to know which brands are key players? Because it helps you do the second one, which is it helps you see or know which advertising channels that they are using. You see, even though you want to be unique, it helps if you know what the competition is up to. Because when you know more about your competitor, it helps you better know how to also you come out, how you also present yourself. So are there few key players in the industry or are there many key players in the industry? You understand? What what are the advertising channels that they often use so that you can also be there? Because if people are always seeing a certain brand on TV, your competitors on TV, and you are also not there on TV, maybe they may see you in a different light from how they see them. So sometimes you have to match your competitors. Let people see you where your competitors are also seen, so that at least it can also help them when they are making decisions. What is the advertising spend of your competition? How much are they spending on adverts? Some will say, hey, na me, how I go know? Of course, your competitor will not come to you and say, hey, Kojo, Charlie, last month I spent this on advertising. No. Even if the person is your brother, chances are if your brother knows you're a competitor or your sister knows you're a competitor, the person may not give you information because we'll be going to company. So what you can do is you observe, you monitor, and that is why there is another job opportunity for you as advertisers in the area of monitoring, research and monitoring, because a lot of these companies would love to have data on what their competitors are doing, and they don't have the time, they don't have the resources to conduct such research. So you can set up a company, and what you do is you do research on all brands in a certain product category, and then when these brands are looking for that data, you sell it to them. So how do you know what they are spending if they are not telling you? You may not know how much Nestle is spending on adverts in a quarter, but you can let somebody or a company do media monitoring for you, so they see, okay, they have 4 adverts on Joy FM, they have 2 TV adverts on CTTV, they monitor these media houses, and then they give feedback on where they have your adverts. Of course, how much they charge, these media houses charge, that one is no secret. If you go to Joy FM and ask them, please, how much do you charge prime time from this time to that time, they will tell you. So it gives you an idea. If they have 2 adverts here, they have 3 radio adverts here, and then they have these ones here on social media and there, then they are spending about this figure. So it gives you an idea of where they are placing their ads and how much they are spending. That could also guide you in your media planning and buying. Nature of competition. By nature of competition, what I mean is, are they competing based on, advertisements? Are they competing based on promotions? When you look at our telecommunication industry, MTN, Tigo, Vodafone, one of the standout ways by which they compete is through promotions. So everybody is giving out this, everybody is saying, make this call and you get that, call this person and you get this, don't call this person and then you get that. Everybody's giving promotion, giving out freebies with the hope of attracting more customers over there. So if that is the nature of the competition, if it is promotion based, how are you as a media planner or media buyer going to go about yours too? Are you going to suggest for certain promotions to be also be done? Because remember, a couple of lectures ago, we indicated that it is ideal for a media planner or buyer to be part of the creative team, to be part of the whole decision-making team when everything starts out. Because all these important information can be provided by the media planner and buyer when you are planning as to how to go about the whole marketing campaign. How is it positioned? I think we talked about positioning and how people see KFC or how people may see KFC and Burger King based on how they have presented themselves so far. So, how have your competitors presented themselves to the audience? Are you also going to copy that through your ads, or are you going to do something different? If a company is running ads solely on social media, running their social media ads, maybe they are trying to present themselves as tech savvy. Maybe they are trying to position themselves as, with the youth, with the young, because they often are on social media. Is that how you also want to position yourself? Or you would want to present yourself to the elderly and say, Charlie, how have your competitors positioned themselves? You often hear that people say, go that they are paying for answer, so it's like you hardly see a young guy between the ages of 18 20 to 30 or so going to a pub and say, Charlie, what will you drink? And then they say, give me Goda. People ask, Aren, where are Okra? The question is, when did Goda say, me, I am for old people? I don't think they have done that. But because of how maybe they have presented themselves, maybe it's because someone will say maybe it has been in the system for long, but so have the others. So why are people perceiving it as paying for? I don't know if they have positioned themselves as that, because I hardly see their ads and I haven't really paid attention to how they are promoting themselves. But if that is the perception, why? And if they are your competitor, are you also going to position yourself as that, or you're going to position yourself in a certain way? And selecting certain media types goes a long way into positioning or presenting yourself in a certain way in the minds of the audience. So that's also important. And then, of course, where is your product sold? Where are your competitors selling their products? Because again, sometimes where you are selling your product says a lot. If you are looking for a certain kind of fruit to buy and you only see it at, let's say, Accra Mall or Max Mart, or certain shops, the perception you give to the product is, hey Charlie, this one there is high time kind of product where you don't find it in ragamuffin places. Sometimes too, you may decide to sell your products at a certain place or certain kinds of shops because of how you want to present yourself. Because of how you want to present yourself. You remember some years ago, people said that Guinness was sold in pharmacies. It could be rumors. I can't confirm or deny that. But if they're selling it, let's for purposes of this discussion, let's say they were indeed sold in drugstores. What kind of perception do you think people would have had about the product? That actually, sure, Guinness is a drew ankasa, because drugstore cryoton, we are selling it in the drugstore, so it's not just alcohol, it's medicine, proper medicine, that kind of thing. So sometimes, by remember that when we talk about media planning, media buying, when we talk about media, some people think it's just radio, TV, from the beginning lectures, you remember that there are a whole lot of platforms that you can use. Oh yeah, even graffiti now are being used. Yeah, graffiti. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, those drawings and markings on the walls and all those things. People use it to run ads. So these are all platforms. So sometimes the place you even decide to have your product can also affect how people perceive it and all those things. So when you're measuring your competition, you look at the key players in the market. You look at your advertising channels and their spend. You look at the nature of the competition. How are they competing? Is it the advert against advert? This one runs 42 adverts in a month. This one too also runs 43 or 40 or 50. Or are they focused more on promotions? Or is it both? How is the competition like? How are they fighting each other? How are they positioned? How are the various brands in the product category presenting themselves to the audience? And where are these products being sold? Yeah, so when you're doing all these things, you're looking at the brand trends. Now, we're also looking at market share. We're finally looking at market share. Now, I know most of you studied general arts because you wanted to dodge mathematics. You don't like math. And general arts, most of the time, you're learning literature, economics. You have met small math here. Now, when we're talking about market share, just look at the two words, market share. It's like, what percentage of the market do you own? What percentage of the market do you own? So out of the people who purchase a certain product, how many of those people do you own? How many of these people are yours? How many are buying? Or out of the number of products, milk, let's say out of the number of tins of milk that are sold in the Ghanaian market, what percentage of that is yours, is your brand's? Now, so I have put here various ways by which you can calculate your market share. You can look at your unit market share, you can look at your revenue market share, you can look at your share of wallet or share of requirement. Let's look at unit market share. When we talk about unit market share, the key word here is unit. So if it is tins of milk, we're talking about units, so 1 tin of milk. So if we say unit market share, what you're saying is when we are talking about the number of tins of milk that are sold in the market, how many of the tins of milk sold are for you. So to calculate that, what you'd have to find out is the units sold over total market units sold multiplied by 100. So when you say units sold, I'm talking about your units sold. Yeah. So if you are Lane Tete and you have this milk company called Lane Milk, how many Lane Milk tins were sold within that period, whether it's a quarter or a year? You decide the period you are doing your calculation with. So how many tins of Lane Tete's milk were bought, and then look at the total number of milk tins that were bought multiplied by 100. So if 500 Lane Tete tins of milk were sold and there were 2,000 total tins of milk bought by 100, which means that that's 25. This one is simple mathematics, which means that Lane Tete has 25% market share when it comes to unit market share. Sometimes too, you may not want to look at the unit market share, how many tins of milk were bought, because you want to look at the money rather than the unit of the tins of milk. So you can look at revenue market share. Revenue market share, same idea. You look at your sales made. If they bought 500 tins of milk, how much money did you make? Okay, 1 tin of milk is 1 cedi, so 500 is, let's say, 500 cedis. So it means you have made sales of 500 cedis. Total market sales, out of the 2,000 tons of milk bought, how much was it? Okay, it was this so amount by 100. Then it gives you an idea of your revenue market share. The share of wallet or share of requirement. Let me explain this by using the share of requirement. When we say something is requirement, of course, you know it is what is needed. So by share of requirements, what we mean is what does the client need? So let me break it down. Let's say you are Shali Banahine. Let me use another person who also worries me. Shali Banahine over here in the comments. Now, Shali Banahine has a shop, and Shali Banahine wants to know what is the share of requirement for tin tomatoes. What Shali Banahine is looking for is, on the average, how many tins of tin tomatoes does one person need, or does a family or an individual need in a month. So if Shirley Banahine finds out that on the average, a young man or a young woman who is living alone needs about 10 tins of tomato, I don't know which size, you decide. It means that if that person buys 5 tins of Shirley Banahine tin tomatoes, it means that the other 5 is being bought from somewhere, from another brand. I don't know if so far you are getting it. Let me come again. Shirley Banahine tin tomatoes. Now, Shirley Banahine does research and finds out that an average individual needs 5 or 10 tins of tin tomatoes to produce or prepare food within a month. But when the individual comes to the shop, the individual does not buy 10 tins of Shirley Banahine tin tomatoes within that month. That individual buys 5 tins of Shirley Banahine tin tomatoes within that month. But if the share of the requirement is 10, then that means that you are only providing, Shirley Banahine tin tomatoes is only providing half of the requirements needed by the average person. So if Shirley Banahine's tin tomatoes is providing half of the requirements of the tin tomatoes, then it means that Shirley Banahine's competitors are providing the other half. So that's why we say share of wallet or share of requirements. Yeah. So if an individual who drives a car needs to buy fuel 500 cedis a month, and the person on average buys 200 cedis from Shell, that means that the 800 cedis that is left for the month, the person buys it from another brand. So if you want to calculate your share of requirement, normally share of requirement is used to gauge brand loyalty. Yeah. So this data is often gathered from loyal customers. You understand? So you know that this person often buys fuel from this filling station. So you have a what do you call it, a questionnaire you ask. So how often do you how much do you spend on fuel in a month? This that. So how much fuel do you buy from this person in a month? It will give you an idea how much fuel they need in a month, how much they buy from you, and then you know that okay, so me, I supply only 50% of their needs or their requirements, or 40% of their requirements. And then the next question is, what should I do to increase my share of requirements to make them purchase from me the more? Is it running more ads? Is it running more promotions? Is it placing certain billboards here or there? Or is it running ads on certain media platforms that would make me increase people's share of requirements? Increase my share of requirement percentage in people's buying profile. I hope that is clear. So when it comes to market share, that's basically what it is: unit market share, revenue market share, and share of wallet or share of requirements. So those are the market share information that I would need you to pay attention to. There are a lot, but these are the 3 that I want you to pay attention to. One would ask, why am I even interested in market share? If you do not know what percentage of the market you hold, you may not have a good idea of how vigorous your campaign should be, or how silent or gentle it should be. So the more you know about the market share, whether unit market share, revenue market share, or share of requirement, to give you an idea of how strong your presence should be before the people. I hope that is clear. So in summary, we have looked today at the marketplace. We have looked at the importance of who we are as a brand, finding out more about our brand, the competition, our brand, what we have been doing in the past, our success stories, how has it been positioned in the past. We have also looked at why it's important to look at our competition. And in looking at our competition, we have identified that product category, brand trends, and market share are three key areas that we should be looking at. And a product category, we have decided to look at the trends of product category. What's happening there? Is the sales increasing, decreasing? Is it seasonal? Is there economic reasons? Are there cultural reasons to the trends in the product category? Are we in the appropriate category? That's also important in product category. We have also looked at brand trends. Who are the key players? What are the advertising channels they are using? How much are they spending? What's the nature of the competition? How are they positioning themselves? Where are they selling their products? Of course, where they sell their products can fall under how they are positioning themselves. We have also finally looked at market share and why it is important for media planners and buyers to look at market share. So that will be all for now. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and then ask.